I spoke on this bill, Minister, previously. I'd like to first of all congratulate you on your appointment as Minister.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I spoke on this bill previously for a couple of minutes back last June, I think, before the debate was adjourned. So just to reiterate some of the issues that I was raising at that point. I welcome the bill in terms of it replaces an Act of Directive that is almost 60 years old and takes into account some of the changes that have occurred in maritime issues in that time. And that this bill demonstrates that meaningful and effective reform takes time, and that there was public consultation throughout on this particular issue. And it contains a number of important and positive developments that all ships with defined exceptions be registered to operate in Irish territorial waters is welcome, as is the creation of a new centralised electronic Irish register of ships. Furthermore, Section 24 demonstrates the flexibility by putting in place specific visitor registration for small craft scheduled to operate in Irish waters for less than 3 months. And this is a provision that is especially vital for marine tourism, a sector with substantial economic benefits. Also evident in the bill is the new focus on safety, which is firmly at the heart of the Department of Transport and Tourism, as championed by its ministers. And the provision, for example, in relation to seaworthiness of vessels and the obligations for re-registration of vessels every 10 years. And such provisions mirror others in relation to road safety. Section 17 deals with the appointment of registrars of ships, with subsection 4 empowering the Minister to appoint persons to carry out these duties, and that the current arrangements for registration is undertaken by the offices of the Revenue Commissioners, and that this will continue until the various provisions of this bill have been put in place. It will be interesting to know the views of the Minister regarding this, and whether registration duties and functions will be placed with an existing state agency or whether a new one will be created. And obviously the former would be more appropriate in terms of the efficiencies that we have enacted over the last number of years in relation to state agencies and saving costs. Finally, as I stated before, the issues of national flags and national colours in their display are addressed in sections 34 to 38. And whilst this may seem somewhat antiquated or lacking relevance to some, I believe the matter merits the focus and attention afforded to it. Aside from the important identification of vessels, particularly for an island nation, is the use of registration for commercial benefit. In the past, a commercial entity transferred the registration of its vessels from Ireland to other jurisdictions, and this they did not out of lack of patriotism, but for the companies more than happy to use Irishness to build a competitive advantage, but for purely economic reasons, to cut costs and reduce remuneration paid to staff. Obviously, Minister, we cannot discuss legislation regarding shipping without reference to ports and harbours, and I note that Schedule 3 of the bill sets out the ports for registering in the state. The Port of Galway is listed, and the Minister is aware that Galway Harbour Company recently submitted a comprehensive plans for redevelopment and expansion of the port. I fully support these plans and share the views that the expansion of Galway Harbour is essential to sustainable development of the entire western region. However, I want to take this opportunity to again reiterate my concerns regarding the reclassification of ports and harbours. The National Ports Policy proposes to reclassify Galway as a Tier 3 port, i.e. one of regional significance, and I think this fails to take into account the planned expansion of the port and the potential that can be realised when this expansion occurs. In my submission to a board Penala on the matter, I pointed to the experience of Barcelona. Once predominantly concerned with commercial cargo, the port can now cater for 9 cruise ships carrying 3,000 passengers each. Therefore, at the height of the tourist season, Barcelona's port can bring 27,000 extra visitors into the city and region on a daily basis. Now, obviously, Galway is a smaller port, but if we got even a fraction of this, it would be a huge benefit to the west of Ireland. And I'm sure, Minister, in your new role, you'll have a chance to come to Galway and perhaps meet with the board of Galway Harbour Company and see what plans they have and the existing facilities that they have. But the existing facilities are tidal based. They open the gates to let ships in, so it obviously has to be timed, which obviously limits its expansion. They have plans for a new port, and the port in Galway is at the heart of the city. It's just a short distance to Eyre Square in the heart of Galway City. So, in terms of tourist potential, it has huge potential. On the commercial side, it is true that Galway currently caters for a small volume of the total national shipping cargo. But this is simply because investment of the scale that is required for expansion has not been made in the past. And just to give you a few issues in relation to the expansion itself, the development itself consists of 2 phases of land reclamation, the largest section being 19.86 hectares to facilitate transfer activities from the existing port facilities. A deepening of the access channel is envisaged, as is a turntable to allow for safe docking at the new pier. A breakwater will be constructed at the head of the new pier, while a second breakwater will allow for a 216-berth marina. This new port will not be dependent on tidal flows and the opening of gates, therefore allowing more irregular shipping activities. The new port will allow Galway to compete with other ports as a modern facility for all existing activities. The new facility will give greater scope for additional activities, not least with the planned rail access also. And that was part of the submission that I made to on board Penola. These plans are realistic. They will happen. I'm confident that investment will be made. There are other ports in the country and TDs from other areas who have opposed the plans for Galway and have made submissions on that vein. They are obviously opposed for their own reasons, but the stakeholders in the West are fully behind the plans for Galway Harbour, and I'm confident that these reforms, such as those contained within the bill, will benefit all aspects of our marine sector, and I look forward to further reforms being implemented in the area. Thank you.